Welcome, fam. What is going on? Happy new week. Happy Tuesday. Happy Tuesday. We are back again with another amazing show. FIFA World Cup 2026. Soccer Watch Party Prep. So, I don't know, fam, if you've already watched a couple of games for soccer. Personally, I'm still preserving my heart so that I don't have any disappointments. But very soon I'll start catching up to see, okay, who's going to win. And then at least, I'm going to try hedge my bets so that I support a team that's got higher chances of winning. And but I'll say right out of the gates, Portugal, definitely I'm supporting Portugal, just because of Cristiano. Like no doubt about that. And yeah, but definitely like lots of news about the World Cup that's been coming up lately. Apparently, England got into a little incident where some of their kits were stolen, and they went through like some tornado in Kansas City. And yeah, apparently the opening ceremony was like the most viewed match in the entire uh, history of any event itself. So pretty amazing. I think the World Cup is off to a good start. And today, for us, I know some of you enjoy soccer, die-hard fans, as I've been for at least half of my life. But I haven't watched soccer as much as I should be. But obviously, right now, everyone's talking about soccer, and people are getting together. People are like going out, having fun, watching, going to like what are these like fan parks and just having watch parties where they have the entire broadcast on big screen and then people watch, and some people are doing it in their city and some people are doing it basically at home just like you would any other kind of sporting event. So today's stream, let me just make sure that we're on, like you guys can hear me. Yeah, I think we're good. We are good. We are rocking. So today's stream, I want to help people that are thinking about like hosting, whether you're thinking about hosting a watch party or you're thinking about attending a watch party. So I want to help you with figuring out, because I mean, like, let's just get it out of the way. Like people, when they come together, there's always going to be food. Likely, there's going to be drinks, and most times people think that they have to sacrifice their health because they're meeting with people and they're trying to have like a good time. So they think that a good time means that you have to sacrifice your health, which that's further from the truth. So that's the first thing that I want us to just get out the way, and just think that just rethink the way that we look at like sporting events or like activities that we do. That maybe you're meeting a group of people and all of you have different goals, and when it comes to like your diet, the things that you want to eat, you might think that you have to just eat all the food that's served to you, or you just, eat because, people were there. I'm not, you should eat for sure, but sometimes we might overeat because maybe you've got like a 5 course meal, like the host plans a 5 course meal. And so this is good for like anyone who's like a host so that they also like plan meals that are healthy for guests. So if you're a host, make sure that you stick through the end because I'm going to share with you some ideas on how you can actually help, well, at least host a very successful event where people feel, I mean, depending if they win or not, if your team wins or not, but they feel like, they had the best experience when they come to your place. And if you're someone who's attending, you can also figure out like, okay, how do you pick the right food? And you're not having to face like the challenge of like, okay, should I eat that or should I not eat that? And yeah, so just to give you a good idea and still enjoy it, because this is a pass to say that, hey, go enjoy yourself, even if it's even if it's like junk food, right? Like it's one day, like it's not going to ruin your progress. So it doesn't have to be a thing that you hold tight onto, but as we know, like the FIFA World Cup, the soccer games go on for a couple weeks, months, so to speak, because the final will probably be like towards like the end of summer. And yeah, so I think this is, one of the most important streams or episodes that we'll shoot just for people that are like getting together. Because even if you're not a soccer fan, I almost can guarantee that you're gonna get invited somewhere where people are gonna be watching soccer over the next couple months. And it'll be good for you to just, keep this in mind. And as you take part in any activities, you want to make sure that you're doing it with, good caution. You're also approaching it with responsibility, just the normal thing. So I think the first thing it's, I've kind of talked about it. So you don't have to be extremely strict for you to actually enjoy a game where people are coming together. And it doesn't mean that you have to like binge eat as well. So thinking that you have to go towards like either extreme, that's not true. You don't have to go either extreme when you're actually like going out to hang out with people. And, if your friends are sort of like the people that like to go the extreme where they eat all the food and kind of like binge, because sometimes people are like will have like competitions where they're eating. If that's the kind of group, well, one day is not gonna kill you, but it's always good to just approach it with, a bit more awareness. As long as you know that's what you're doing, that's good. I'm fine with it. As long as you know. For me, it's like awareness. Do you have the awareness? As long as you know, it's better, right? Because you know what you did wrong, depending on what ends up happening, you know what you did wrong, and you also know what you did right. So awareness is the most important thing. So the first thing, like I said, just keep in your mind that you don't have to be extreme about it. There's no right way to do it. Have fun, just be responsible, and just know what you're doing. Have awareness to what you're doing. And also remember that even if you slip up, something happens, have grace for yourself. Have grace for yourself. Because when you have grace for yourself, it allows you to actually fix the mistake without feeling bad, without attaching negative emotions or negative feelings towards that event and that experience. Because the goal is to be with people and enjoy people's company, enjoy food, and just hang out. And that's it. Right. So you don't want to be that person who's like too strict. You're like, no, I'm not eating this. I'm not eating that. Unless if you're allergic to stuff. Right. Unless if you're allergic to food, then don't eat that food. If it's against your dietary preferences, like let's say if it's lactose and you're lactose intolerant, like okay, sure, makes sense. We don't want you to be spoiling things, are we? No, we don't want that. So that's one thing. And also we just want to make sure that at the end of the day, the experience that we have, whoever hosts us, we thank them, we help with like removing stuff, right? If it's like clearing up stuff, if you get there, things are still being prepared, you kind of help out, right? So even if you're being hosted, make sure that you have manners and etiquette. That's also important. Those are important things. So we want to make sure that we're doing this and we do this well. And that also allows us to keep doing the same things, right? And being invited and playing with others in a good way. So manners are important, especially when you have other people that are around you. So and yeah, and I think the biggest thing again, like it's realizing like what is the purpose of that event, right? What is the purpose? So right now, so I'm just pulling up the results just to see which teams have been playing well, because honestly, where Messi is and where Ronaldo is. Let's see. I'm gonna share with you my screen right here so that you can see what I'm looking at. So we got the games. We got June 11, South Africa, Mexico. Oh, that's the game. That's a famous game. South Africa, Mexico. And then Korea, Chechnya. Okay. Canada. A draw. USA 4-1. Okay. USA. Okay. First game. Okay. Makes sense. Switzerland, Qatar. Okay. 1-1. Morocco and Brazil. Wow. It was a draw. Wow. Good for Morocco. I don't know how good the Brazilian team is right now. Brazil is always like the favorite. Okay. So we got Scotland, Turkey, Australia. Okay. Australia. Ooh, Germany. Krakow. Wow. 7-1. Crazy. That is wild. Is that the record? Wow. I guess for this World Cup, probably. But I mean, they scored one goal. I think that's like the country that, oh, it's an island, I think. They're saying like the population is so small, like the amount of people that they have there. So it's a big achievement for them. Okay. Netherlands, Japan. Okay. So these games are pretty tight. Oh, Sweden and Tunisia. Wow. So Sweden's really playing, yeah? Okay. Is Holland Swedish? I think he's Swedish, if I'm not mistaken. Okay. Okay. Spain, Cape Verde, Belgium, Egypt. Okay. Saudi, France. Okay. France. Okay. I see. Okay. Iraq, Norway, Austria. Oh, Argentina, Algeria. Okay. They're playing today. Okay. And then Jordan, Austria. Okay. Okay. Portugal, Congo. Okay. That's a good game. Maybe I think that might be an easy game. That'll be a walk-off game uh for Portugal, I think. Okay, let's see. Let me see the brackets. Let's see the okay, round of 32. Let's see, round of 32. Okay, so they still have okay, so let's not look at the bracket. Okay, but World Cup final. Oh, it's July. Oh, it's 2 months. Okay. Okay, so standings. Let's see what we got. Okay, Group A, Mexico. Okay. And Korea. Oh, okay. That's not a, I guess, yeah, I guess Korea actually played pretty well. Ooh, Canada is going to be tight. Switzerland, Canada. Okay. Okay, Scotland. Oh, this is a pretty tight group. Group C is tight for those three teams. It's going to be an upset. One team's going to be going home crying. Okay, USA, Australia. Okay, looks like they're pretty up there. Mm. Okay, Germany, Ivory Coast. Okay, they won. Ivory Coast is pretty good. So I actually assume like Germany, Ivory Coast, they'll make it. Sweden, Japan, Netherlands. Okay, this is a tight group. So Sweden really played well. New Zealand, Iran, Belgium, Egypt. Okay, that's a pretty interesting group. I don't know how good Iran is. Egypt, yeah, Egypt is also good. Wow, okay, this is a tight group as well. Uruguay, Spain, Saudi. Okay, this is, a bit of competition. Okay, this one has a lot of competition too. Kinda depends on the teams. I don't know. I thought Senegal was going to play pretty good, but I guess they could be very competitive with Iraq and Norway. Mm, Argentina, Jordan, Austria, Algeria. Okay, this is pretty decent. Pretty decent. Ooh, okay. So now we got Group K, Portugal, Congo, Uzbekistan, Colombia. Colombia, Portugal, yeah, I think they might take it. And then England, Croatia, Ghana, Panama. Okay. So I guess like the groups you have some I think the way that they did it is pretty good. Like with the teams that are like actually playing here. I think it's gonna be right now. It seems like okay, cool. Like these teams are gonna get past like the first round, but I think round of 16 we're gonna see some interesting matchups, and that's really gonna be like the time that we see like the big upsets and the matches where we see like the teams that are potentially going to win. Because yeah, definitely like the 7-1. That's I mean not fair for it's not a fair matchup, right? But I think just in terms of potential, I think yeah, I think Germany seems to have a pretty solid team, and Sweden they seem to have like solid teams. So I think it'll be interesting. It'll be interesting to see what happens. But anyway, so right now I want us to look at the types of meals that you can prepare because one of the things that we need to discuss is like okay when you're actually going for like a match day and to like watch and you're preparing for like a watch party, what are you supposed to do? Because one of the things that happen with people when they over indulge when they're eating too much, it's because maybe they actually get there and arrive hungry. Like that maybe it's like afternoon, but then they didn't have breakfast to begin with, like a meal to start the day, and they're just looking forward to that day. And depending on your, let's say, diet, if you're doing intermittent fasting, maybe you just say, okay, I'm just going to eat this um, one meal when you're there for the watch party. But maybe what if it's not enough food for you to eat, right? So sometimes you might not know if you have enough food to eat at the watch party. So it's always good to have like your breakfast, have a meal before, and then you arrive with a, semi balanced stomach where you're not too hungry and you also can still eat enough for you to enjoy the game and socialize because the socializing is the most important part. And the other thing is when you're looking at, let's say, liquid, because sometimes we talk about like liquid calories, like empty calories. So because it's very easy for people to drink a lot of alcohol when they're getting together with friends, and also like sodas and energy drinks, right? So anything that's like sugary, it's very easy. So there's actually a way that I'll show you like different smoothies and different smoothie recipes that you can actually use and make for your guests, or you can make for yourself like if you like something to drink. So I would recommend, like, if anything it's liquid, a smoothie would be the way to go. And the other thing is, just the idea of like the snacks. Maybe you're doing a potluck. So if you're doing a potluck, like really be conscious about the types of foods that you're bringing to the potluck as well, because you want to think about like, okay, is this food that I can distribute and have more people eat with me? Because there's certain meals that you can eat on your own, or if it's just like a couple. But if you have maybe a group of like 5, 10, 20 people, maybe you might need foods or things that are easier to serve to more people and you can share. So just be mindful. So things like nachos could be good because they're dry, people just snack, grab, but also like sometimes finger foods, if they just like in a big, big platter, people just eat mindlessly without actually understanding what they're eating. So if it's like big platters, so it's good to have like side plates just to give people the option to use a side plate for them to actually see like, okay, do I actually want to eat this much or do I want to eat more? And then they can see like, okay, how many plates did I use and how much did I eat, right? So it's easier that way. And so if you're hosting or if you're also attending, those are things to think about. Like just, use a side plate, use a cup, and just a normal cup that you just use for the day. And yeah, same thing with side plates, right? So, and if you're eating like snacks, like there's plates for like serving entrees and then plates for like snacks. So like keep that in mind, right? When you're attending and you're serving people, like don't just give people like entree plates and just give people to eat everything, right? It has to be in portion sizes that make sense. And so Uh, the other thing is like the types of foods that we eat. We need to make sure that they're not hyper palatable. And hyper palatable, it's like, salty and fatty foods that just get people to like overeat and they want to eat more and more. So, one of the things that I want to do is actually show you right here um, what I have in mind for you guys. So, this is what I have in mind for you. So, these are smoothies, a smoothie option to help with serving your guests. Or if you're attending, you can also just have smoothies, right? So, with the smoothies, what you're doing essentially is oh no, you, uh, let's see. Uh, Okay, perfect. Okay, I got it. Okay, so with the smoothies, what you're doing right here is that you want to give people the option of like having something that's refreshing. And at the same time, you can also be giving them food that is nutritious. And if you're also serving people, you can have these options. So there's like green protein smoothie, kale and pineapple protein smoothie. And you also have like berry blast protein smoothie, oatmeal banana protein smoothie, spinach and avocado protein smoothie, tropical protein smoothie. Maybe you might not necessarily do like oatmeal, right? A lot of people don't always enjoy oatmeal. So you want to think about like the people's palates, like what do they want? They want something fruity. Maybe you're gonna go with like the berry blast protein smoothie. For some people who are like health nuts, you can go like green protein smoothie and tropical protein smoothie. Protein paradise smoothie usually goes hard, so that's one option. And you can also go coffee banana protein smoothie for the people that are looking for like that boost of energy. Because some people want to eat or drink energy drinks, right? So you can kind of go with the protein banana protein smoothie. And you can also do like the chocolate. You can do the vanilla almond. You can do the blueberry almond, right? So these are different options. And you can also replace, instead of it being just like uh, almond, you can replace it with something else, a different nut that you enjoy. So, and you'd be using like that milk that you can use, like the cashew milk or like the almond milk. Those are different options. So these are also like the recipes for each one, right? For those meals that I told you. So you'd be looking at something like this, right? For the green powder protein smoothie. And you can also have like the berry blast protein smoothie as well. So these are options, all options that you can use, right? So you can have this ready for your guests and you can give them this. This is what? Tropical protein paradise smoothie. So you got all these options, right, for smoothies. So these are all meals that you can combine for your guests and they can have these. So these are all meals that you can have for people. So this is a kale one. And then you've got your oatmeal, banana, protein smoothies. These ones also good for you to use like even if you're at home, right? You can use some of these like even on your own and just have that as an option for your diet. And that would be like great for the morning. I enjoy oatmeal. Oatmeal banana. That is my go-to. And then this one is spinach and avocado. Right. So you've got this one. This one's going to be a little bit thick with the avocado. It's going to be thick, thick, thick. So it's going to be filling and it's going to have high amounts of fat depending on how much you add to it, right? So just always think about that. So I also gave you like the macro breakdown for the smoothies, like the protein, the carbs, the fat. And this is an an approximate, right? Depending on the brand that you specifically get, it might be different for the specific brand that you pick. But based on these ingredients, that's what you would have, right? So this is serving one person, 1 cup, and you're doing a quarter ripe avocado. You're not using the entire avocado, you're using a quarter, and half cup cucumber slices, half cup Greek plain yogurt, right? Plain Greek yogurt. And then you've got your protein powder. You've got 1 tablespoon chia seeds, 1 cup unsweetened coconut water or almond milk. And then you combine all of them, put them in a blender, boom, done. So if you're adding, let's say for 4 people, 1 avocado will make for 4 people, right? So you're gonna have a quarter times 4, 4 people, and then so you multiply everything, right, for the number of people that you're serving. You just multiply this by the number of people that you're serving, and then you get the amounts that you need when you're shopping. So it's 1 cup spinach. So you multiply that by the number of people that you're serving. If it's a quarter, then you multiply that by the number of people that you're serving. Half cup, same thing, right? So if it's 4 people, right? For example, 1 cup now turns into 4 cups. A quarter ripe avocado becomes 1 ripe avocado. A half cup cucumbers cucumber slices becomes 2 cups cucumber slices. And then half cup plain Greek yogurt becomes 2 cups. And then 1 cup, 1 scoop of protein powder becomes 4, right? 1 tablespoon of chia seeds becomes 4. And 1 cup of unsweetened coconut water or almond milk becomes 4. And you've got your serving size now changed to 4. And if you're serving 4 people, so they're going to each get these macronutrients as well as you're serving them, right? So each person will get this. So if you are one person and you drink the whole entire smoothie, you can reassured that you've had 1,200 calories, right? And 100 grams of protein, 20, not 20, 80 grams of protein, 80 grams of carbs, and what's this? 13 times 4, 4, 2, 1, 52 grams of fat, right? So this is what you'd have now. So it's important for you to understand right here, like, okay, how do you break down in a recipe book or cookbook? How do you figure out, like, okay, how do I make this? And all the smoothie options, they don't require a lot of cooking time, all of them. So you don't actually require cooking time. And all you do is just prepare, which is going to take you like 5 minutes to like prepare this. And you've got serving sizes, right? For depending on how many people you're serving. So you don't actually spend time. So imagine you can have like your bar where you serve people smoothies instead of like sugary drinks, right? So people can actually be healthy and filled, right, with different smoothies. So these are all different smoothie options. Ranger, what is going on? So yeah, so like this one is the coffee. So if people are looking for like energy, right? Like if they're showing up, they're like, okay, we want some energy drinks. So instead of like energy drinks, this is for the coffee option, right? So you've got the coffee banana protein smoothie. So same thing, you just follow the ingredients. Make sure you get the ingredients, you set them up, and then you also just blending, right? Takes 5 minutes. Add them up in the blender, and then you just chug it all. So this is one of the most important things that I think a lot of people overlook when it comes to like figuring out like, okay, my meal prep, how do I stick with my meal prep? And then sometimes we're like, okay, don't drink your calories. Okay, sure, but something like a smoothie, it's actually real food that you're putting in a blender, and then when you blend it, it becomes liquid and you can actually drink it and it tastes good. And so these are different options, right, that you can actually lean on. So this is the coffee, right? This is what it would look like once you're done. And then blueberry almond protein smoothie. So this is also the the ingredients and the prep and instructions. Boom, you've got another smoothie right there. So now we're going to move on to the next section, right? So the next section is snacks because now at least the smoothies, like, it makes sense, right? So you're gonna have like your smoothies that you can have, so you can host people and have the different smoothies depending on people's favorite fruits and the types of food that they enjoy. So you can have a smoothie bar, and so when you have that smoothie bar, you just serve people that. And then if you're attending and there's options for a smoothie versus like picking an energy drink or picking a soft drink, you're better off going with a smoothie because most of them are going to be cold, right? It's going to be refreshing and it's going to fill you up and it's going to be healthy. And most of them you don't need to add extra sugar to your smoothies. So most of the fruits already have like natural sugars, so it's good for you. You can have energy. You're going to feel like, okay, I had something that's filling and refreshing at the same time. Because sometimes it's about how you feel after, right? So after you eat food, it's like, how do I feel? So right now, let's say if it's summertime for you, it's going to be like a great option just to have like a smoothie that's like refreshing and it'll give you a lot of energy. And I'm telling you, like, you'll enjoy smoothies are probably one of the best ways to just have something that's light, not too heavy, but something light and still healthy. So highly recommend having a smoothie as well as an option for your watch party. So this is going to be a great option for you to have. And then next thing that we're going to look at is just the snacks themselves. Like, okay, how are you going to cook? So because when you're doing a watch party, right? Like depending on like your culture as well and the types of foods that you normally have at gatherings, or like maybe it's like 10 people or however many people that are going to be around. Sometimes people make entrees, right? Like people make rice, people make potatoes, people make chicken, they grill, they use the barbecue, right? They make meats and they make like entrees, and it's not just snacks. So right now we're not going to focus on entrees because I know like sometimes with entrees it can be very they can be very heavy, and depending on like, okay, maybe you enjoy Indian, maybe that's what you want to eat, right? And you actually cook Indian food, and perhaps maybe you just enjoy, your steak and potatoes. Maybe that's what you make with some corn on the side. That's, up to you as to what you want to have. So the entree, you can just make whatever you want to make, right? I'm not going to tell you like what to make, but just enjoy whatever entree that you're planning on making and enjoy it for the game day. Like it's fine. But in the case where you're like just doing light snacks for like a watch party for games, because maybe you might spend like, maybe 4 hours, 5 hours, 8 hours with people, and you might be eating throughout. But the times that you're not eating the entree, the main course, right? Like at that time, you might decide to say, hey, like I'm going to snack on something before the entree, before the main course, or even after the main course. Maybe you're like, oh, you know what? I want to have something just light to eat, but you also don't want to overdo it. And for you not to overdo it, you're going to have options that are healthy, things that can help you enjoy the experience without feeling like, hey, like, okay, I'm feeling like I'm bloating and I'm too full for this. So just make sure that whatever you do, you're still mindful about what you're eating, first of all, because the awareness, I think if I'm to emphasize anything, it's awareness. You need to have awareness. And awareness is probably one of the most important things in our time right now that we live. It's understanding what we're doing because things are changing and shifting so much. And so when things change and shift and you keep doing the same thing and you don't adjust your plan and what you're doing based on the changes, you end up doing the wrong thing and you get the results that you actually don't want. So it's important to be aware. So when you're in an environment, just draw awareness to yourself. Like, okay, what am I doing right now? Okay, does this work for me right now? Because if it doesn't work, you need to change something. You can't keep doing the same thing over and over again. If it's not producing you the results that you want, you have to change. You have to figure out, like, okay, what works? Test something out, right? See what works. But the main thing is awareness. So, same thing when it comes to your fitness, to your health. If you've been doing the same thing, if you're trying to fix specific habits, whether it's like eating, giving yourself a bit more structure, and you find yourself maybe in the same pattern when you're around people where you now eat more of the bad food because you're around people, it's good to have awareness. Even if you don't do it perfectly. It doesn't matter, but just have awareness because that is the most important thing. And that's going to be the most important skill for us I think in our lifetime. It's always the most important thing for us to have is awareness, to know what is going on and what you are specifically doing. That is one of the most important things that we need to know. So when it comes to snacking, so we've got these 10 high protein snacks. And these snacks, the way that I design these is just thinking about, like, okay, what's the best way that you can make food taste great and still be healthy? So I've got these options here. So you've got the Greek yogurt with berries and almonds, right? Turkey roll-ups, hard-boiled eggs with whole grain crackers, uh, main beans, cottage cheese with pineapples. I don't know. Some people don't like cottage cheese. I think it's a bit of an acquired taste for some. And depending on, like, are you accustomed to eating it, like your palate, right? Like people have different palates depending on where they are, where they live. And then you've got crispy chickpeas. I enjoy chickpeas, especially like the crispy ones, right? So those ones are pretty good. Tuna salad, lettuce wraps, that's another option. And then quinoa salad cups, protein smoothie. So exactly just what we looked at. And then protein packed cottage cheese apple bowl. Cottage cheese, I think a lot of people sleep on it as a good source of protein because cottage cheese is kind of, I don't know, it's like sour, but also kind of like, I don't know, it's got a different texture when you eat it too, right? And it's kind of nice because yeah, it's not like your regular cheese, but it's actually kind of nice, right? But it's an acquired taste. It's pretty good. I like it. Um, Okay, so this is the next section of the cookbook where I actually show you the recipes as well. So these are the recipes for this for the meals. So you've got the Greek yogurt with berries and almonds. So same thing, preparation time is 5 minutes, zero cooking time, right? One serving for one person. So these ingredients are for one person. So a half cup Greek yogurt, half cup berries, blueberries, raspberries, right? And your sliced almonds. So again, you're mixing them in a bowl. You're not doing too much, and you're just adding it there. So again, your macros are calculated for you. Your protein is calculated for you. Your carbs are calculated for you. Your fats are calculated for you. So essentially, if you're making this, just follow the instructions. And so if you don't like tracking, like using MyFitnessPal or doing stuff like that, and also like when you're hosting people and when you have more people eating food, you don't you don't actually want to have to like track every single thing to make sure that it's on point, but just having these estimates is good enough, right? So it just gives people a good idea, especially if you know, like, you've got friends maybe that are coming. If you're the host, for example, if you know that, okay, you've got friends that are coming and some maybe are trying to lose weight, you can just have this as an idea just to give them awareness, right, as you're hosting them so that they don't feel hesitant to say, hey, do you want to eat this or don't want to eat this, right? You can even put like a little chart, right? Like if you wanted to, right? Let's say, for example, you can put a little chart on a wall or like on a board or something, and just to show people like the menu. right? Because I think a lot of menus now these days, people, depending on the restaurant, they'll put like the calories as well. Like some would go to the extent of putting macros, but not too many. But at least the calories now they show you like, okay, at least if you're eating something, even fast food, I think McDonald's even does that, where they put the calories too to say, hey, when you order this, this is how many calories you're having. So I think even if you're a host, if you go that extra a step of just like giving people like a breakdown of the menu of what you're serving. Oh, telling you. I know it's for some they'll say, "Oh, this is too much work." But hey, guess what? It's really right there. All the work has been done for you. You don't have to think about too much. You just copy paste it and people will be like, "What?" And even if you have like recipe books at home, right? You can just check if they already have like the macros included. You can just check and see like, okay, what are the macros and what are the calories, and then you can just put it in your like on a on somewhere like a piece of paper or something. So yeah, so this is uh these are the recipes. So hard boiled eggs with whole grain crackers. So this is kind of like an egg sandwich, but without the mayo, without the butter and anything else. It's just the hard boiled egg with the whole grain cracker. A bit, it could be, someone could say it's a bit, what could you say? Someone could say it's a bit dry, but you could also add something that's light, not too much, like something that's like your favorite. I don't know, like yeah, you could say mayonnaise. Like if you just like spread a bit of mayo, maybe it might give it a bit more, texture and flavor. You could do that. That's an option. So you can modify the recipes a little bit. So it doesn't mean that it's going to be the end all. So you can still modify this. It doesn't mean that it has to be this, but this is for someone that's not trying to have like extra calories that don't add up. And sometimes some snacks are like a little bit dry, or you can put a little bit of cheese as well. You could like grate some cheese, put some cheese on top, and then just put your egg on top and then eat it. Maybe it might taste good. But yeah, so these are all different options, right? And then prep time doesn't take time. So it's like cooking time. Maybe your eggs are the thing that's going to actually take time. And yeah, and then you have it broken down. Oh, there you go. You got some pickles. You got some extra salt and pepper, right? So this is how you could serve it as well. I actually like the pickles. I think the pickles would actually be good. It's a good option. So this is actually a good recipe. And then cottage cheese with pineapple chunks. So same thing, like very little prep. So like all of these ideas are like they don't require a lot of time, right? They don't require a lot of time for you. It's most of them, it's like 5, 10 minutes. You can make a snack. Like even if you're at home, even if you're going to work, you can make these snacks for yourself, even if you're going to work. Anytime you can make them, right? So important for you to like think about like having something like this. Excuse me. Yeah. To have something like this, and it can actually make a big difference in your diet. So I know you're going, you've got this. Yeah, so cottage cheese, pineapple chunks. So it's like the mix of that, soury taste and the sugar from the pineapple, which would be good. Oh, yeah, pineapples sometimes they really go down, especially in summertime. Okay, so you've got the tuna salad, lettuce wraps. So tuna salad, prep time 10 minutes, zero cooking time, serving, one serving. One can tuna, water drained, sorry. And then you've got 2 tablespoons Greek yogurt. And yeah, Greek yogurt in place of mayo. So you can use Greek yogurt instead of mayo. On the eggs and crackers, I don't know if I put Greek yogurt. Maybe not Greek yogurt. Yeah. Okay, but you could try. I don't know. It depends on your palate too. And you've got your chopped veggies, lettuce leaves, wrap, right? So you got that. That's what it looked like. Ooh, makes me want to have a snack. Okay, protein smoothie. We talked about this, right? So we've got protein smoothies, and yeah, same thing. Like no prep. You just add your ingredients in a blender. Boom, done. Right, and you know exactly what you're eating. And then turkey roll-ups. Okay, so sliced turkey breast. So I mean, like the turkey breast. Maybe you've cooked it. Maybe you've bought cooked turkey breast already, but maybe you might have like extra prep time and cook time for like actual turkey breast. But for this option, you'd actually have to cook it. And then you have like cooked sliced turkey breast, and then half 1 tablespoon hummus or cream cheese, sliced bell peppers, cucumbers, or avocado. And then, yeah, instructions: spread hummus and cream cheese onto your turkey slices, place sliced veggies on top, and roll up. This is what it looks like. Or the other option you can do is, which is not necessarily like the best, because you've got the option of the turkey bacon. That could be like another thing that you can add instead of just like the turkey breast as well. So that could be an option. So it depends on for you specifically what you have, because that one I sort of like, because technically like what's in the image here is like the turkey bacon, but typically what I would recommend for people is to have unprocessed meats. Like processed meats are not good for you. And yeah, so if you do have them, just know what you're doing, right? Look at the ingredients. Look at, okay, is this like real turkey? Obviously you're going to have some preservatives in those, right? For refrigeration and longevity, for it to live like shelf life. So just make sure you check that. But I'll recommend like actual cooked turkey breast that you cook on your own. Okay. And the main beans. So you got 1 cup boiled or or steamed main beans in pods, right? So sprinkled sea salt, sesame seeds, optional. So boil, steam, any of those two options, and then boom. And the other thing that you can do is, yeah, so like peas, right? Peas, you might use peas, and yeah, I can have the same result because peas. I actually like I know like if you're like into farming, you'd also, if you've actually farmed or grown peas before, or even if you like, going into like fresh food stores, when you get peas, some peas are great tasting, like when they're fresh, you haven't even cooked them, and they're sweet. So you can also like have like fresh peas where you can just have peas, right? And yeah, peas are a very good option for like snacking on. And they're good. It's kind of like nuts, or remind me of nuts. Okay, so crispy chickpeas, right? So same thing for snacks. I think like crispy, yeah, and then fats are pretty low for these beans as well. And so for crispy chickpeas, all right, for these ones you might have to cook them a little bit. So you're gonna put them in an oven, right? You're gonna have some seasoning on them, right? 1 tablespoon of olive oil. This is on 1 can of chickpeas, and preheat. Pat dry chickpeas, use a paper towel, remove excess moisture, toss chickpeas with olive oil and desired toppings, spread them on a baking sheet and bake them for 20 to 25 minutes until crispy. Allow to cool before serving. So, boom, done. Great snack. People can just take, you can have like those small bowls as well, and people can serve themselves in those. And you can also like, depending, because I know like sometimes when you're hosting, it can be a lot when you're preparing for like a watch party for people. It can be a lot with like figuring out like the cutlery, utensils, plates, bowls, all of that stuff, especially when you're having a lot of things. But you just have to pick what you're serving for people. And when you pick what you're serving for people, that way it's easier for you to plan like, okay, how am I going to serve this food? Where am I putting the food? And sometimes, buffet style, it's good, But if people don't have like those smaller plates, the side plates or the bowls, people can overeat and people just come and just grab and just eat, right? But if you can have it in sort of like portion sizes so that people can also eat mindfully, right? So these are things that you can do as a host if you're trying to help your guests to eat healthy and keep healthy habits, right? And yeah, support the people that maybe are trying to lose weight. These are things that you can do in terms of like hosting people. And yeah, because something like this is going to be easy for people to just, grab, eat, right? And mindlessly just like get into that pattern because, things like nuts or something like chickpeas, right? That are actually put in an oven, they're crispy. They can taste good, especially with the seasoning. Where people enjoy the seasoning and taste so much, where they just keep, grabbing, eating, right? So for example, with these ones, right? Like if we're saying it's like one can, because imagine you're looking at this, right? There's a bowl of these on the side, and someone's just grabbing, and sometimes is the part where people when they see there's more food, because especially with like different cultures, right? You might find that different people will be like, you know what? I have to eat this food because I I can't just leave all of this food. It's been served to me. I have to eat. And some people are hesitant to eat all the food and they leave some. And sometimes, guests usually have some I mean, the host will have some leftovers and send the guests with some of these, right? So, some of the leftovers. So it's okay even if you don't eat all of it right away because sometimes it's leftovers. You can take them home. You don't have to feel pressure to like eat everything at once. Especially if you enjoyed a specific dish, you can just say, "Hey, can I get a take home plate or something?" And you can just take that, right? And maybe you can try recreate it at home when you get home. Okay, so quinoa salad cups. So you got prep time, 15 minutes, 15 minutes. The quinoa needs to be cooked. That's one of the things, right? So allow it to cool, mix it with diced veggies and your feta, if you like feta. So boom, you got your bowl right there. And then protein packed cottage cheese apple bowl, right? So you've got a half cup cottage cheese, one small apple diced, and cinnamon optional, right? Place cottage cheese in a bowl, top with diced apple, and sprinkle with cinnamon if desired. Serve and enjoy. So 5 minutes, little prep time. So none of these meals will take you more than an hour to prepare, even if you're making for like more people, right? Because that's the whole idea behind these, right? Oh, yeah, so we're not going to get into the breakfast today. So I just wanted us to cover like the smoothies and the snacks. So this is what we need to make sure that we understand is that as we're creating meals for like a watch party, inviting people, if you're hosting, you've got guests that are coming, and there are things that we have to keep in mind is we're all on different paths and different journeys in terms of like our health or fitness and the things that we can eat and things that we can't eat. So if we're hosting, there's obviously like manners, etiquette in terms of like what the host can do for guests and the guests as well once they come. But I think the most successful watch parties, people understand, or the host understands, dietary preferences of the guests, and the guests can also communicate dietary preferences. And if someone has really unique dietary preferences, I'm sure like sometimes people are okay with just coming with their own like little meal, especially if it's like very specific. Let's say if someone's like, okay, I'm Muslim, I don't eat pork, and they don't eat things that are mixed with like other foods. for example, they might just say, "Hey, I'm just going to bring this and I'm just going to eat this," right? So it can be very different. So you have to accommodate different differences in terms of like people's dietary preferences and what they enjoyed eating. And if you're hosting people that have allergies, for example, like foods that are cooked in certain pots, they can't mix, that could be another reason. So there's different reasons to just respect what other people eat and what other people don't eat if you're hosting. And if you're attending, there's no need to either be rude about it, but it's a moment right now with the World Cup. I know a lot of crazy things are happening in the world, but I think something like sport, soccer, there's certain things that we come together around, which is, sport, and which is food, and just communing with other people. So if you're a believer, a Christian, you can also have your community, your church group, your cell group, and just bring them with you. Like it doesn't matter right now, I'm making this content for everyone who's hosting. And if you have like a very specific, diet that you enjoy the most, and or some things that you've done in the past when you're hosting, or you're a guest of the meals that you enjoy the most, I need you to sound it off in the comments. Like leave a comment. I want to hear the best meals that you've had at a watch party or at a gathering, because once I know, I can figure out like, okay, what's the recipe? We can create a good recipe where we can track the calories, we can track how many grams of protein, how many grams of carbs and stuff like that. And yeah, and I know like different people watch this from different parts of the world. And there's my African community as well from different parts of Africa. Shout out to, Tanzania, Kenya, Zimbabwe, South Africa, Botswana, Swaziland, Lesotho, Zambia, Mozambique, all of you. Shout out to everyone, the Fufu, the Sadza, the Ugali, Kenya, Rwanda, all of you. I got you guys. So I know that's a central part of diet. Nigeria, also, everyone. Egypt. Oh, I'm just remembering everyone, Ghana. Oh my goodness. But anyway, so everyone that's in different places, I'm giving you a shout out to like, hey, enjoy the World Cup, enjoy your soccer watch parties, have some good food. Don't beat yourself about it. Even if you slip up, even if you figure out like, hey, you know what? I slipped up today. I guess what? If your team is still playing, you're still supporting a team in the World Cup, you're still taking part. Just show up again. But this time, just come with awareness. You start over again, you do it again, and unwind. This is a unique time that we have in the world right now because there's a lot of things that are going on in the world. And this is a moment to just come together as people, and people that are just enjoying a common sport and enjoying food. And maybe you can share your culture with someone else. This is the opportunity, this is the time that we can share with other people in different parts of the world what we can eat, right? So right now I shared with you this diet because things like gali, fufu, sadza, those are hard to figure out like the calories. Obviously, that's why I don't have those because most of it is like homemade and it's like real food. So sometimes you don't necessarily go down to the extent of like calculating everything, but you know, we definitely can estimate to see like, okay, how much can we eat or we shouldn't eat, right? Because you can also pack things in little, you know, when you serve it, I know like for food, like you put in those little plastics and you kind of standardize the size that you serve people. And the meat is a staple. That's, we won't even go there. The meat, you can eat a lot of meat, bruvos, and your meat, chisanyama, and your brie. Make that brie and eat that. Oh my goodness! This time around, I was actually in Africa this time around, and yeah, I think I'd gone by now. I think I was in South Africa. Yeah, because I went Kenya, I went, flew through Tanzania, South Africa, and then Zimbabwe. And then from there, Swaziland, South Africa, and then came back. So those are the, yeah, wow. Yeah, it's been a year. Wow. I miss everyone. Oh my goodness. Shout out to everyone if you guys are tuning in, but shout out to you. Um, yeah, so anyway, so like what I'm saying is like all the things that are happening right now, let's enjoy. Let's make sure that we're not trying to overdo things, but we're doing things with balance, with moderation. And if you have the option, if you're serving something, just always think about having protein. Try eat your meats first, your protein first. If anything, eat the proteins first and then eat your carbs after that. The fats will figure themselves out and your meals will always bounce themselves. And if you slip up, it's okay. You can do it again next time and start up again. Don't put too much pressure on yourself. Enjoy what's happening. But the most important thing is just have awareness, especially if you're falling off. Just maintain that awareness to know, like, okay, this is what I'm doing. And if it doesn't work out, you're like, I don't like the way that I feel, then you can adjust, you change something next time. Because that's just a sign. It doesn't mean that feel bad and stay stuck in that place, but it just means like, okay, learn something from that and then just change and then improve one thing at a time. Don't try change everything at once. Small steps, baby steps, because we're trying to do this and continuously do this for a lifetime, for a lifetime. We're not trying to just do a one and done thing where we just have the perfect meal and that's it for life. But what we're trying to do is develop the right mindset because it's about changing the way that we think first. Because when we change the way that we think, our actions and the things that we feel, how we feel about ourselves, how we feel about food, it changes. And when those emotions change, it changes our behavior. And that's how you manage emotional eating. It's by changing the thoughts that you think when you start feeling those emotions. And those thoughts begin with having awareness. We have to have awareness regarding what thoughts are we having first, and what are the thoughts that are keeping us stuck, and how do we undo those thoughts? How do we replace those thoughts? That's why I always think that a lot of people are stuck in false beliefs, beliefs that limit them into where they are. And maybe the thing that they're still holding on to, it doesn't help them, it doesn't serve them anymore. It doesn't mean that you as a person are a failure or you don't have discipline or you don't have anything, but it's a matter of understanding that things in life they change and sometimes we have so many responsibilities for us to actually understand, okay, it's now time to change this. Sometimes it's not easy for everyone to just figure out, like, okay, this is my time to change this, is my time to change this. So sometimes it's just having that moment to pause, say, oh, wow, I've been doing this the same way for the past 10 years. Crazy. This is not working anymore. I'm not seeing results. And maybe based on your new life, the new stage in life that you're in, that's not the thing that's supposed to get you through it. Maybe you need a different way of getting through it. And it starts with awareness, the awareness, to be aware, to understand what the problem is. What is the false belief? It doesn't mean that it was a lie all along sometimes. Sometimes it's been a lie all along, but sometimes it's because things have changed and things have evolved. And we require and we need to be adaptable to new situations when there's new information, when there's new findings in different situations, right? Uh, I was getting too scientific findings. Okay. But anyway, what I mean, I think you get it. Like when there's something new in your life, whatever applies to you in your life right now, don't think that it's about you failing. You failed yourself. You haven't failed yourself. No. Have grace for yourself. I encourage you to have more grace for yourself. Just enjoy life but have awareness. Awareness, right? I was going into another topic right now. That's why I like having each day with a theme, so that today, like, I'm bringing myself back to nutrition. Let's come back to nutrition, right? On Tuesday, because I was going on a different path to try and, always connect things together. I really enjoy to just be able to connect everything together. So, fam, I appreciate you. And if you think that, okay, you know what, I need to get like a nutrition plan or whatever, like the recipe book, I've linked everything in the description so you can go check it out. And you can grab one of those for yourself if you're preparing to host people. Everything is calculated for you, calories, the ingredients are there, the instructions for cooking are there, the macros are there, so everything is laid out for you. All you have to do is just go get the ingredients and then just make the food. Doesn't take you more than 20 minutes to make each one, but you have to just, yeah, just follow through and just follow the instructions. Nothing crazy. And if you, there's something else that I wanted to say. I'm forgetting. Anyway, when it comes to my